1, 2, 3, audio test.
Hi, this is CBRadioMagazine.com, and tonight in front of us we've got an RCA single sideband Copilot 14T302. This is an AM single sideband 40 channel radio. These came out in the late 70s. RCA did a whole series of Copilots, and there was mostly AM models, but there was some single sideband models as well. This radio uses a chassis that was used in a couple other brand models, so similar radios using the same layout and everything. Radio has traditional styling, does have wood paneling back here because it was the 70s, right? And you had wood paneling on your station wagon, so you needed your radio to match. I will just go through the features here and kind of show you what this radio has going on. First off, the meter, a little bit more square than some of the other meters on the Cobra 29 type radios or other radios. A little bit different layout too, and I like the orange in there. Kind of a dim light, of course, which was pretty common, but still lights up pretty well. Over here you got your channel display, and of course 40 channels go all the way through. We've got an SRF switch here, position, SRF calibration SWR switch. So first position to show either your power output as you key up or the signal strength of the station coming in. You've got a calibration location, that's for setting it for when you're going to test your SWR, and then you can switch it down and test your SWR in the bottom position. Next one is a noise blank switch. So you turn this on for your noise blanking ability to get rid of some of those electrical pops and stuff, noise that you might get in a vehicle. And we have a local DX switch. This is kind of an RF gain switch, and it allows you to basically cut back if there's too strong a signal, you can cut it back, or if you're trying to get rid of faint signals and you only want to hear local signals, you could flick that up there. We have a clarifier up top for tuning in on sideband. SWR calibration knob, so if you have this over in the calibration position, you would adjust this till you get over to that set position, and then you would flick that down into the SWR to see what your SWR is on the scale on the bottom there. Dimmer control, and this dims both the channel display and the SRF meter. We've got your mode selector here for AM, upper sideband or lower sideband. Volume control, which is also your on-off for the radio. And your squelch over here, which is also your PA function for the radio. We have a channel selector knob, and one interesting thing is we do have a mod light on this, and what will happen there is, I'll zoom in, as I talk, if I key up on AM here, audio, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, audio. And as you hit higher levels of modulation, that mod light would light up. And that's something that they had on some old radios, but they got rid of that. And you would just see your meter move mostly on the newer radios. But kind of fun feature on that. That's about it in terms of the features. Very simple. One thing you guys might be noticing, well, two things. First of all, you have your switch here for local and DX, so there is no RF gain control on this radio. There's also no microphone gain on the radio, which it would be nice to have it, but on some of these older ones, they didn't have microphone gain. Anyway, just one thing that is missing. Let me show you the microphone on this. Microphone connection was on the side. It's a 4-pin, not a 4-pin Cobra. A little bit different wiring on this one, but it was a standard 4-pin, so you just need to rewire if you're going to use an aftermarket microphone. This is the microphone that came with this. It's a stock microphone, and it isn't too bad. Actually, on a single sideband, not terrible. This radio, since it doesn't have microphone gain, you can turn up the modulation inside a bit, but it would probably do well to have a good power mic on it just for a little bit of oomph. But this sounded pretty good on sideband, not a huge amount of audio in AM. Does say Japan there. Interesting thing about the microphone is on this one, the key here, you actually press down on the lower portion to key the radio, whereas on most newer ones you'll press in on the top portion, so a little bit different there. Let's show you the back of the radio. This is the back of the RCA single sideband Copilot, and first thing I'll point out is the power connection is not factory stock. This isn't someone's added this aftermarket. It's a 3-pin power connector here, which is a standard Cobra Galaxy one that you see nowadays, but the original one from looking at pictures was a 2-pin, and the 2-pin power connector here, just you would have plugged in your power cord into the 2-pin connector, but it was kind of a unique power cord, so I'm guessing at some point someone switched this out to the more traditional one just because probably lost the power cord. So anyway, this isn't original, but handy to have nowadays. Here is a PA jack and an external speaker jack, and over here is our antenna connection and our FCC type accepted faceplate here on the back, and it says made in Japan. Of course, made in Japan here as well. We've removed the speaker side cover here and disconnected our speaker wire. It's always important when you're taking the cover off to make sure you disconnect those so you don't pull hard on anything or damage anything. And now we can see the board of our single sideband RCA Copilot 14T302. This did share a board with a couple other radios that were similar. I think I mentioned that earlier. It's the Bowman 950, the Colt 480, and the Gemtronix GTX-77. They all had similar board layouts, so things I'll show you here will also apply to those and vice versa. This board, in this radio, they used a PLL02A, and it's beneath this board right here. You can't really see it, and it's pretty small, so it's hard to see because it's shadowed, but it is underneath in the front here. You could get extra frequencies. I don't know if you'd hit all the frequencies that most people would want these days, but look on CBTricks online. There's also some other places where they list the frequency conversion for this radio to try and add extra frequencies. I'll show you a couple of the tuning points that you guys might be interested in. So first adjustment point I'll show you is VR4, and that is your AM carrier on this radio. Now initially I looked and I was like, where is VR4 on the board? I can't find it. And then I kind of panned over and looked and realized I was missing something. And this is the front of the radio here. And if we look up over here, VR4 is actually this guy. And if I remember right, I think the Colt 485 was like this, but it's mounted to the side. It's actually not on the board. So a little unique there. And there's a little set screw on the top here where you would adjust this, and that would give you your dead key adjustment. So set it for 3-4 watts. Don't need to try and push the old radio too hard. It's kind of interesting though for that AM adjustment point. Second thing I'll show you is the AM modulation, and it is back here. This is where our power is coming in, and our pot is down here, and it's RV12, and that is your AM modulation. Now, of course, you want to have an oscilloscope, and you want to check it, make sure your modulation level is correct, you're not over modulating, and that is right down in there, right behind that cap. Now, the last thing, even more so in terms of having an oscilloscope, is the single sideband adjustment on this radio. It's a little different. The factory service manual is available online on CBTricks, which is fantastic. It's always great to have that. Makes everything a lot easier. And single sideband radio is a two-step process. There are 2 points. You adjust the first one first and set it to one specification, then you go and set the other one. So I'll show you what the first one is. It is RV11, and it is right off of VR4 over here. So that is RV11, and you would adjust that first according to what the manual tells you in the service manual on your oscilloscope, and then you would go over here, and RV2 is in the back, and it is right here. It's in between these two other guys, and then you would adjust that. You always can adjust this stuff without an oscilloscope, but of course you don't know exactly what you're getting. So following the factory service manual, if you have it and you have the right tools, is always the best way to go. But once you tune this up, not too bad. You know, do the 12 watts on sideband, what you'd expect. AM actually did about 15 with PEP, a little swing. So yeah, it's not, it's not going to be a powerhouse, but it's a nice old radio. It's 40 years old now, and audio sounded pretty good on the air. Sideband, like I said, was a little peppy, so it sounded pretty good. And just kind of fun. I've never had one of these in front of me, so neat to always see something new. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. cbradiomagazine.com, and we'll have some more stuff coming soon. Thanks for watching.